This week on today's Homeowner, the Kuppersmith Project is turning a corner as we seal up the walls on the inside and begin painting the skin on the outside. We're making big changes, so don't miss it.
And you have a recipe for a really beautiful project.
Our renovation of the 85-year-old Kuppersmith Project is about to shift into high gear. Much of the outside work has been done to make it more attractive and low maintenance. And now, we're about to make it 21st century energy efficient. It's hard to believe a house that's 84 years old, that's located in Mobile, Alabama, where it really gets hot, never had any air conditioning. So a big change is ahead for this house with the new air conditioned heating system that's all installed. But it's been quite a challenge to route all of the ductwork and all of the equipment in this home without having to build a lot of fur downs that can really affect the character of a house. Our air conditioning guy did a great job. Big change ahead here. Now, another thing that's going to make this work really well is all of the insulation that will be installed. And another surprising thing, that it had no insulation at all, ever. Even in the later years where a lot of people will add insulation, no insulation here. But we're about to completely foam the underside of the roof decking and fill all of these rafter voids with foam. The foam we've chosen is a product from Icynene, which is made from the oil of castor bean. It goes on in a thin layer and quickly expands to about 100 times its size to fill in voids in the framing. In areas like walls or vaulted ceilings where drywall will cover the inside, a long serrated blade is used to shave off the excess once the foam is dry. They don't, however, put any insulation between the living space and the attic. Our friend from Icynene explains why.
First of all, you only need one thermal boundary, so you don't need one there and up here. Also, we don't want to impede the passive communication of the fully conditioned space below with the semi-conditioned space of the attic.
I see.
And some of that we derive from leakage through the drywall.
Right. Another thing that surprises a lot of people, we tout all the time and have for years the importance of attic ventilation. Here, you're eliminating all of the ventilation.
What we believe is that once you seal up the attic, there's no more outside air that can penetrate into the attic, no dust, no pollen, and no excess moisture from the humidity, which we have a lot of in the southern part of the country. Now we have control of this space by sealing the attic and spraying to the roof deck. And this space will remain typically within 10 degrees of the thermostat downstairs.
That's
on the hottest day of the year.
That's not usually the case in an attic.
No.
But you can get an attic, I mean, I've been in attics 130 degrees and the air conditioning system just struggling downstairs to keep it at a decent temperature.
It's important to note you've got ductwork running in the attics, typically in a lot of construction.
Right.
Now we've got the ductwork in a friendly environment to transport
So it's not
more
working
cool
as
air.
hard
It's
as far
not
as the
working as
losing
hard.
BTUs from point A to point B.
Right. The heat loss gain on the ductwork is minimal.
Right. When the insulators are done, our drywall hangers are right on their heels. And these guys are the ones who really benefit from that lighter wall board we talked about last week. They spread out over a section of the house at a time and quickly cover up the bare studs with crisp, clean drywall. Not that it's a clean process, the dust that drywall hanging generates makes it almost as messy as the finishing that follows. All right, don't drop any mud on me here, Mark. Now, you know, I've owned this house for a couple years, and I've walked through it 100 different times, looking at the old plaster walls that used to be all over the existing house. Then for about a month, I had to look at all of the just bare studs and all the wires. It just didn't seem like we would ever get the drywall up. I'm very happy right now that it has all of the drywall in place, except for one or two places, and you can see some of the ugliness of the old house. This is the back side of the fireplace. It's bricks with a plaster coat over it, a lot of peeling paint. We'll scrape that off and we'll glue a thinner drywall to the wall, 1/4 inch.
then the finishers can go ahead and complete all of their work, and they're making a lot of progress upstairs. Now, one of the things we have to do at this stage in the project is make sure the drywall hangers didn't cover anything up. And you can see there's a lot of opportunities for that with all of the recessed lights. We have vents, we have speaker wires, we have alarm wires, just about all kinds of ways that these things can be covered up. Now, if you catch it right now by looking at the electrical plan, and you can see all of the different outlets and so forth that are part of this wiring plan. If you catch it now, it's easy to find the plug or find the outlet and correct it before we trim and paint and put cabinets up. It is really sad when you have to find an outlet at that point in the game. But right now, the guys that'll dominate the inside of this project are drywall finishers.
This is one of those jobs that can't be rushed or interrupted. It just takes time. Putting on layer after layer of joint compound to conceal the seams where one panel meets another. It's a deceiving job because at first glance it looks pretty easy, but one that few people can really do well. We'll leave these guys with their work while we check in with Joe for this week's Simple Solution.
If your kitchen cabinets have adjustable shelves, here's a great way to build in custom storage for spices and herbs and things that come in little bottles that easily get lost if you toss them in a drawer or bury them in the back of the cabinet. The first thing you need to do is remove a shelf, and then I just took a couple of 1x2s and a 1x3s, and I built a simple squared off U-shaped frame that fits right within the cabinet itself. It's just 1/8 of an inch narrower. Then I took 4 extra shelf pegs and I just put them in right above whatever you're storing on the bottom shelf. In this case, I have some cups, so I put these shelf pegs just above that. And now this shelf, this spice rack shelf, will fit right in there. Lift this up, it should slide right in. And you see it sits right on these pegs, leaves plenty of room for the cups, and lots of room for storing the spices. So let's put this shelf back. This is the one I took out earlier. That rests right on there. So I can put this stuff back up there. And then you see, look at that, perfect spot for storing all these little bottles and spices. And you can adjust this, of course, anywhere you want because the pegs are adjustable.
Over the last couple of weeks, we've been concentrating so much on the inside of the house, but now the sheetrock finishers have their run of the place. Now it's time to concentrate on a few loose ends outside. Our brick masons are just about complete with every bit of the brickwork they've done on the outside. Then our stucco contractor will be back soon to finish the skirting to blend it in with the existing house. And our painters are well underway to make the outside of this place look awesome.
Because all of the trim work is pre-primed composite material, they start by filling nail holes and caulking the joints between pieces. Next, they'll cover all of those surfaces with a consistent coat of primer. We're using Zinsser's high-hide oil-based cover stain primer and sealer because it's excellent for penetrating and sealing a variety of surfaces, which this house certainly has plenty of. After that, the first coat of finish paint, and this place starts to take on a brand new look. Then spraying the stain on the shakes really puts it over the top. To go with that, we're cleaning up the old bricks and removing the years of dirt, mold, and mildew to help them match the new bricks even better. Around back, Mark's crew is nailing up the D-groove wood ceiling over the newly applied foam insulation. These tongue and groove planks are the same cypress we used for the shakes. And early on in the project, Alan visited with Frank Vallot of the Southern Cypress Manufacturers Association to find out what makes this stuff so special.
It has character, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Question is it going to last?
Yes, it'll last. You know, the natural oil in cypress is cypressine, and that's what makes it resistant to decay. As a matter of fact, if you get real close to that board, you can smell you can smell it's a different smell altogether. Well, it's natural when it goes back into the earth. Matter of fact, here I have some cypress shingles that came off of my house.
Are these cypress or cedar?
This is cypress, and this is over 120 years old. Now, this is machine-cut cypress. It's a little bit thinner than what you're using up there, so you have a little hardier plank up there.
Right.
The boards are going to be resistant to decay naturally. I see almost 100% heartwood in everything you're using there.
Right.
So the oil's in the wood. You could not do anything to it. It'll turn a silver gray, or you can paint it the color you want to. Most cypress is kiln dried, where when you deal with cedar, most cedar is not. So it's already acclimated to the surrounding areas. The water's out of it. You're not going to have a lot of movement. Cypress is a little bit more dense than cedar, so it'll take more of a daily beating. And the elements left out in the natural, if you don't do anything to it, it'll really stand up to the weather, because its rate of decay and rotting is going to be much slower. And then with all the heartwood and today's coatings that we have available, then you have a recipe for a really beautiful project here.
Well, let me show you the rest of the house.
Let's go.
It's amazing how much that porch has changed in just a few weeks, and the transformation continues as the brick steps are added to connect it to the backyard. Then Mark and his crew add the Fiberon handrail system. They're mounting it towards the outer edge of the columns to allow the phantom screens to roll down inside of them. Meanwhile, on the front porch, we're preserving the rough-sawn exposed beam structure with a special two-part, two-step system that will harden the rotten wood and fill the voids. Hey, while the work here continues, let's head to the Home Depot to check out this week's best new product.
Talk to any home designer and you will find that they will put can lights in just about every room in your house, especially in your kitchen over the areas that you do a lot of prep work, say like around your kitchen island. Well, can lights are great, and typically we put halogen lights in there, but halogen lights don't burn that long and they get really hot. Well, what's an alternative where you can save energy too? Why not an LED can light? Take a look at this. EcoSmart has come out with a great product. This has an LED light in it, but look, this fits into any 6-inch opening for a recessed can lighting. Now, everything is right here in the package. All you gotta do is just take out the old fixture, pop in the new fixture into the housing inside the ceiling, and you'll be good to go. Here's some points that you need to know about LED lights. First of all, this bulb right here is only a 10.5 watt bulb, but it gives off the amount of light of a 65 watt bulb. Also, look at the burn time. This can run up to 35,000 hours of burn time as opposed to a halogen, which only runs about 2,500. Again, this is a very cool bulb too, so it's not going to get as hot as an halogen. I'll tell you what, EcoSmart is pretty smart.
The Kuppersmith project is moving along great, with the exterior taking on more of a finished look every single day. Inside, we've been engrossed in getting the mechanicals in the walls for the last few weeks so that we could seal them up, but even before the chaos of that process, we were planning the finished look of the place. Joe Boehm of Better Homes and Gardens magazine is lending his design skills to the project, and he and I walked through it back then to start the ball rolling.
Well, you know, we've been talking to Paul at Merillat about the cabinets and everything, and we're seeing an area here as you come through the door, place to drop stuff off, and then our whole cooking zone and our island, and then along this wall here, we're talking about doing a breakfast beverage bar.
At that point, the details were all just pictures from catalogs.
But here is the door style that we're talking about for the cabinets all the way around the wall. And then we'll do the same style but without the bead board on the island. So a little bit simpler.
And preliminary elevation drawings of the space.
So, and then you see here how he's got beadboard drawn back there. So we're thinking about the cabinets being this sort of free, and then the beadboard would be Kona finish.
But now that the cabinets have arrived, it's starting to take shape in 3 dimensions. The tricky part is that there are so many details and so many pieces, the crew has their hands full just keeping everything straight.
That's 1384.
The 13. So there's a wider one. What is this one here, Mark? By the light.
What's that?
I bet that's them, Mark, because there were 2 of them.
It probably is.
What are y'all working on now? The area over there?
That drop zone.
I got you.
CSK. Trying to get the window seat figured out.
That's gonna be pretty cool.
Yes,
Now, that section right there, though, is that the window seat? You just don't have it up on.
It's
You got to
gonna be
put it up
raised
on.
top of the-
I got you.
On that toe kick.
I got
It's
you.
gonna be a toe kick part. Raise
That'll be
it
great.
up.
Well, y'all had a good day yesterday. Heck, you got a lot of the cabinets in. Once you got in the groove and and got oriented on the book. Matter of fact, you guys must have some good eyesight. I can't read any of that.
Yeah, once you figure out what all those abbreviations are for, it kind of makes a little better sense.
It looks awesome. It's going to be a fantastic kitchen, and of course, you know, it's a very large room, and like any large room that you put a lot of cabinets in, it starts shrinking down a little bit, but the Marillac cabinets are going to be awesome. Once we get the countertop, all of the trim pieces, the windows trimmed out and painted, it's going to be fantastic. There's already a lot of cabinets that have been installed. There's a heck of a lot more to go.
While these guys dig deep into the details of getting every aspect of these cabinets just right,
That's the bottom of it. And then we got another shelf that goes in right here to get some stainless steel cover.
I'm walking around the exterior with our paint contractor, Steve Carey of Certa Pro Painters, to check on the progress.
Planning is the key to any good project, and what we found on this one is that we decided to start with all the trim work.
Right.
Even though there were a lot of pre-primed pieces, we felt it'd be better to go ahead and get a good oil-based primer on there and follow that with the 2 coats, and that was our main focus. Before all that actually started, though, there was a great deal of prep that went into it. You know, a good amount of caulking,
Right.
Sealing the seams, making sure this house was ready for a little bit of cold weather and hot summers. But then the primer and 2 coats, and then once that trim work was pretty much set, we were able to focus on the shakes. And as you say, you know, the stain sort of dictates how it looks. We put on the 1 coat, and we were real happy with that.
I love the semi-transparent look. You know, you still have the beauty of that cypress shining through, but we know it's nice and protected.
With work moving steady both inside and out, we're keeping the Kuppersmith Project as efficient as we can. And speaking of that, why don't you check out Thinking Green? I've been a long-time advocate of conducting energy audits to find out how you can improve your home's efficiency and make it a greener place to live. Many utility companies offer this service as well as private organizations, but you can also conduct your own home audit that could help you save anywhere from 5 to 30% on your energy cost. First, look for any obvious air leaks around windows and doors, electrical outlets and switch plates, light fixtures, and attic accesses. If you close all the exterior doors and windows, fireplace flue, and turn off any gas-burning appliance, then turn on all your exhaust fans, which creates a slight change in the air pressure inside. Then you can locate air leaks by using a lit piece of incense. The leaks will cause the smoke to waver. These are just a couple of ideas, but you can learn more at energysavers.gov. We've seen enormous progress on the Kuppersmith project this week. We finally got the interior walls sealed with insulation and covered with drywall. And once that was finished, our cabinets arrived so that they could start going in. Plus, the outside is shaping up nicely too, with our painters steadily coating all of the outside surfaces.
I can just imagine how nice this part of the house will be for the family that buys this house. You know, think about relaxing out on the back porch, looking out into the backyard, and maybe a few pavers here, plenty of grass for the kids to play, maybe a water feature right there, and plenty of landscaping. I'll be meeting with my landscape architect in just a few days to see what his vision is for this important part of this family-friendly home. Then we'll be able to move forward with pouring concrete here to provide that transition from the garage right into the kitchen. Then more landscaping, more concrete to be poured, and everything will come together on the outside of the Kuppersmith project. I hope you're enjoying seeing this thing come together as much as I am putting it all together. I'm Danny Lipford, and we'll see you next week here on Today's Homeowner. It's taken a lot of work to get this project off the ground, and our Kuppersmith project partners have helped make that happen.